So, hi Daniel, how's it going? Just have your winning entry for the SplineBomb competition in front of me here. So, just going to brief recorded critique of your work. So, yeah, I mean, well done. It's a worthy winner. I think you've been kind of inventive with the brief. You've got a set in there. You've told a bit of a story. It's a kind of novel approach to what the brief you were given. So I think it shows creative thinking, and I think that's why people have probably responded to it. So yeah, well done there. As for the animation itself, I think it's dealt with nicely. Don't have a huge amount to add really. I think this shows good posing, shows good understanding of weight physics, and kind of animalistic behavioural performance that's going on is good. And that's kind of all the things we look for in animation, as you know. There's a few things I guess I could pick up on, but they're not major. I think it's working as a whole. But anyway, I'll go through them. It's not the ideal setup. I just borrowed a friend's computer, a colleague's computer, and I think what we're using, in our VM, we're going to have to use this screen. This actually draws on the screen, so unfortunately I have to close it every time I want to come back to have to step through here. But I think once I start drawing, it becomes a problem. So just bear with me with that. Okay, so let's go from the top. So it starts cool. I think I like the way he rebalances the plank. It's quite original. It's not the first thing that you think that would come to mind. So I think it's an interesting little idea, and it gives him a personality, gives him some intellect. It's Lizard's thinking. He's astute, and it lends itself to some nice animation and nice performance. So that's good, and I think there's a good sort of sense of weight, and I like how you start this turn with his head, pulls his body around, and then this one starts from the back. He's still thinking, okay, I'm going up there now, and still vaguely interested in the rock and then the plank, but this time I'm going to go from the back and follow it around. So I think there's some good choices there. I think for me that where it falls down a little is just on this arc here, that it feels a little bit too big to me, too much of a parabola for the distance covered. Lizards tend to sort of, when they jump, they go pretty direct, don't they? So there's a couple of things. I think the head leading here is good. I think you could even make it lead a little more in rotation. In some respects, though, maybe the nose just goes a little too high here, and it might be to do with the arc as well. But you kind of want the focus to be here. That's where he's aiming. That's where you think he'd be looking. And so I think at the moment he kind of describes an arc like that. I think it would be a bit more direct. Maybe not that much, but you get the idea. And I think you could also take maybe a frame out of it as well, and it would still work. I think there's just one too many frames in that. The shorter the distance as well, I mean, you're going to buy yourself some time with that. And I think that, there might also be some small spacing issues. We kind of go, I suppose the plank's going down there, but that feels okay. That feels very big. I think, in some ways the second one should be the biggest one, and then so we feel that suddenly jumps a lot there. Also wonder whether this right foot coming forward is the right thing to do. I don't know. I guess I'm thinking of frogs, but maybe lizards aren't quite the same. But at this point, things would be trailing together without twinning. Obviously, you don't want to twin the thing, but I think you can find a nice pose in here somewhere. But it feels a little bit forced at the moment, the way it's coming forward like that. And I think if it was a little more direct, you could have a nice stretched out pose. The crunch could kind of happen here, so it's kind of stretched out, and then his front arms get out to stop himself. And then the way that you've got with the hips coming forward like that, this would all just be following this more of a direction like this, so everything stops around here, and this stretched out thing becomes more ball-like. You might get a bit more of a sense of that splat against the wall, And then here, you don't hold on it particularly, but this does feel a little twinned in the legs. And it feels like you want to turn one of those legs out, maybe the right leg away from us a little bit, have one raised up slightly, but just to give it a little bit more form, it just feels kind of flat to screen there, quite 2D, I guess. So I think you can help yourself with the pose there. Get the idea. And then you're sort of in through here. You've got this nice moment of there's a pause and then a kind of quick scurry. And I just wonder whether that could just be amplified just a little bit, So in some respects, there's even more of a contrast, So that's scurry up to the top becomes like even just fractionally quicker. So you really feel that change. You feel like there's a moment of like, oh, I'm only just holding on here. Once he feels confident, then he's as quick as possible he gets up there. I think maybe these two legs swinging around like that, it's okay. They sort of join maybe a bit too much, and we don't really feel like this left leg's, getting around that rock, and I think we should do. It's like it feels like it's kind of very close, if not going through that rock. So, and I think just being a bit more clear about what's happening there. If it's pushing off, it's then lifting up and landing again. But I suppose it's just a little bit unclear. So, and I think that kind of reads when you play it at speed. So if you can see how that left foot is contacting or not contacting, it might give the audience a better understanding about what's going on. But I think it's all there. It's just about how it's been dealt with. Just be a little bit clearer and maybe fractionally quicker as well. So, and then the ending is nice. My only question would be with the ending is it's like everything's kind of very lined up. So it certainly feels that way. Maybe his legs and his tail aren't quite so far around, or his head doesn't come quite. Maybe his chest and his head are a bit more pushed away from us, but he's turning his head back towards the plank. But I guess the point I'm making is that if I was to look from the top down, just hips. Head. So if you don't feel again, it's kind of stacked in the line. Whatever. You sort of feel that in I guess given the camera as well. And whether or not you can just sort of give us a bit more sort of 3 dimensions on that final pose. It's quite a nice pose, and he's got that nice feel to him, but yeah, you could look at that. That's me being kind of quite critical. I mean, ideally, if it was a longer piece, you'd have him at that point, maybe look up, have a look around. You know, they're always aware of prey, aren't they? Always looking at where they're going to go to next, where's the next meal. So, because in some respects, I feel like he's gone away from the planet now. That's kind of no longer his focus. But you know, I think it kind of works. It's that kind of. I think it also works the beat of a creature who's, you know, he's got somewhere, and it's just that he takes a moment's pause. Okay, I'm done. So I think it, you know, it does work in that respect. And I think, you know, your ups and downs look good. It's good sense of weight. He's a small creature. He's quick, but you still have managed to make him feel like a, you know, real life creature that has mass and the mechanics. That all seems to be there. You know, on every footstep I can see you doing sort of ups and downs and dealing with it in that way. And that's right. You know, you should always do that. And wherever footsteps are made, or, you know, weight is applied and shifted, and, you know, you haven't ignored that. So that's great. But yeah, I think there's a nice quality to the animation. It feels, you know, the character's kind of stylized, but you've given it quite a real feel. And that works. I mean, for me, it's just that point where he jumps, it just breaks that slightly, you know. And if you were to sort of just deal with that, you know, with the time and its art, I feel like the whole piece just holds together just a little bit more. The details of the rocks are nice. I think it's a pretty hard thing to do, you know, to animate in gravity. It's surprisingly hard. And I don't know. I guess you've animated that. You might have simmed it. I don't know. But if you've animated it, I think it's pretty good. Maybe the big rock flicks off a little bit too quick, but I like what the just a minute, sorry. I like what the little rock does, and falling off the plank feels good. So, you know, it's a 4-second piece. Looks good, and keep up the good work. And, you know, I'll check out your reel, your stuff on Vimeo. There's quite a few people looking at mine. I've sort of gone and seen theirs, so I mean to do the same with yours. Just been kind of busy at the moment, but yeah, it's when I saw the piece, I thought it was really nice, and I still feel that way. And you could just screen it just a little bit, but it wouldn't take much. So good luck, Daniel, and maybe we'll run into you sometime. But yeah, keep animating. Okay, cheers. Bye bye.